Hi, welcome to another episode of At Grano's Table. Today we are doing something that I love a lot. This was a dessert type dish that Grano always seemed to make around Easter. And since Easter's coming up, spring is coming up, I decided that this would be a fun recipe to tackle today. And hope you guys like it. It's really, really simple, very easy, not a lot of ingredients at all. She called this green stuff. Now, some of you guys may know it by another name. I've heard people refer to it by other names, but my family and Grano called this green stuff. Very easy, very simple to do. First thing we got to do, and I see that I've got one ingredient I need to pull out of the fridge. Hold that thought. I did forget one thing I need. So, now that I'm back with that, this is, like I said, very easy, very simple thing we're going to do today. So all you do to make green stuff is you're going to take one large container, and this is another more whipped topping. I told you guys in another video that I'm not crazy about whipped topping or Cool Whip, and this is a generic store brand because it's just cheaper, but it's the same thing. This is 16 ounces of whipped topping. This is a lot. But this makes a lot. And you could half this recipe if you wanted to, if you just wanted to make this for yourself, but you got to imagine you're taking this to Easter dinner or a potluck, or maybe you're going to some sort of other social event that you want to take this to. This is another one of those atomic era 50s, 60s things that I always laugh about. It seems that people would make often during that era of time. We're going to save that. Some of you will know why. The next thing that you're going to need is, this is a 6-ounce box of lime Jell-O. And so you want the large box. Did y'all know how expensive Jell-O has gotten? I don't buy Jell-O very much, but I don't really use it often. Occasionally, but it's not cheap. So we're going to pour in this whole bag of lime Jell-O. Smells like lime. I like limes. Well, I especially like limes in my sweet tea. It's one of my favorite things. So then we're going to take our mixer. We're going to do this very quickly. And I'm just going to kind of stir that in a little bit. I don't want powder to go flying all over the place. I've done that before with flour when I'm mixing things up. We're going to start this on low. And I'm just going to very quickly mix this in. Start here on low. Just mixing in the lime Jell-O powder into this Cool Whip, or whipped topping. Just going to mix it pretty well. Turn it up a little bit more. Try to do this quickly. Also working a little air into this whipped topping. Now again, that comes frozen. You want to make sure it's defrosted or thawed out in your fridge, usually overnight before you do this. And you see why it's called green stuff, because the lime Jell-O is definitely turning this green. Y'all, this is good. It's one of my favorite things, and it also features one of my favorite ingredients. My favorite thing is to just eat on its own, which we'll put in here in a moment. But I want to make sure this is really good mixed up. And you can look, use a clear bowl, you can see a little bit of that powder there. I want to make sure I get that. And I am going to stir this more. I'm going to flip this up to high. I'm going to really get this working. Make a lot of noise with the mixer. Turn your bowl. Alright, I feel like that's pretty good. Just want to get that last little bit off the beaters there. Alright, we're going to call that good. See how much that drips on my countertop. So I'm going to take my spatula and I'm going to run it around the side. Make sure we don't have much powder in there. Make sure we got most of that Jell-O mixed in, or all of it mixed in. I hear a little hesitate to say crunch, but there is going to be some of that. Now that Jell-O is going to dissolve into this. This needs to sit. You want to let this sit for a while in your fridge. Again, this is one of those sit for a few hours or overnight before you serve it type things. So the next thing we're going to do, and hold from that, I've got some crushed pineapple. This is 16 ounces of crushed pineapple. That's what it calls for. I bought an 8-ounce can, and I actually had some leftover pineapple from when I made that pie. You guys go back and look at that video. And I just had about 8 ounces of the crushed pineapple from that left over, so I just stuck it in the freezer. And I pulled that out, let it thaw in the fridge, drained it off. This is not quite as much drained as I would like it, but we can drain it in the dish here. You just want to dump that in. And we're going to throw that in the sink. And then you're going to take one of my favorite things in the whole world. This is a 16-ounce container of cottage cheese. Now, I have chosen fat-free. That's a personal choice. You don't have to use fat-free cottage cheese. You can use full fat if you want to. But again, that was a personal choice. I tend to buy fat-free cottage cheese because I don't need the extra fat. And it doesn't like me very much if I try to put too much fat in my diet now. Need a spoon, hold on. Cottage cheese, when it sits on the shelf, wants to separate a little bit, and I always like to mix it up. This is small curd cottage cheese. You don't want large curd, you want small curd. Now, I have been known to sit with a container this size and eat the whole thing just with a spoon. Sometimes I throw fruit in it, but I love cottage cheese. One of my favorite things. It's one of the reasons I like this green stuff so much, is because there's cottage cheese in it. So we're just going to dump that whole thing in there. A whole 16-ounce container of cottage cheese. If you don't like cottage cheese, nobody says you have to put it in there, but it won't be green stuff to me. This is also about a cup of chopped pecans. And again, we're using, this was actually the last of the pecans that we had from our yard from last fall. That was the last of them. Now, this bowl is normally big enough. You want to fold this in, okay? So you just turn the bowl and fold it. And turn the bowl and fold it until all of this is incorporated. This is going to take just a second, but anybody not familiar with folding technique, some of you are going to laugh because you want to know how to fold broken cheese. That'll be funny to some of you who watch a certain television show. This would be how you would fold broken cheese. Either way, you're just going to turn your bowl, put your spatula down in there, and fold it over. As you're turning your bowl, kind of quarter turns each time, straight down in the middle and fold. Straight down in the middle and fold. You're just going to keep repeating that until this is thoroughly mixed. You make sure that everything is in there. And that's really so you don't deflate the whipped topping too much. This is green stuff, y'all. It could not be simpler. I really wish I had chosen a slightly larger mixing bowl than this. I always try to choose these clear ones so you guys can see what I'm doing through the clear bowl. Kind of going down and now into the bottom and scraping up anything on the bottom. Come around the sides here. I am making a mess, but it's okay. As I've said before, life is messy, and this is real life here. So normally I would put this into a container. I have some glass containers with lids. If I was going to transport this, I'd put this into a tub that I could carry it in. Now, I'd like to think that I could fit it all back into here, but I don't think it's going to go. But that would be great if you could fit it all back into that whipped topping container. And that's how a lot of grandmothers would do it. Grano would probably do that. Either way, like I said, this is going to be really good to set up for several hours, or overnight would be best. And, but what I am going to do is I'm going to First of all, I'm going to give it a taste because I just want to taste it now. I admit I have not made this or had this in a very, very long time, and this is going to be very nostalgic for me. This is like I said, a dessert dish that I have loved most of my life, and I haven't had it in so long. But let me give this a taste. That's definitely green stuff, no doubt, and it's delicious, and I love it. Very excited about this. You guys make this. This is really simple. You saw this come together. You don't have to be as messy as I do. I am going to cover this with some saran wrap. And like I have green stuff in my mustache. I'll cover this with saran wrap, put it in the fridge. As I said, a couple hours or overnight. Make this. It's fantastic. And join us again for another recipe at Grano's Table.